The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Whether you're into impact, incest, or impeachment, welcome to another episode of the Man Whore Podcast. Y'all can guess which one of those three I'm super into this week. Oh, they're gonna do it. We're gonna get some hearings. But that's not what this intro's about. What's up, everybody? Billy Procida here, your host. We've got a great show for you this week. I've got on model and writer Leah Vernon. She's the author of Unashamed, Musings of a Fat Black Muslim. And we're going to get to some more with her in a bit. But first, I am obligated to, because I am a man of my word, I have to say the following. And this is because I lost a bet. I have to say that Cassie, you know what? When we made this bet, you did not tell me how to pronounce your name, so you lose. Cassie Branch is better at fantasy football than me, Billy goddamn Procida. Which is why when she beat me this week in the Fan Whore Fantasy Football League, she made me cry. Like a trust fund kid getting a Toyota for her bar mitzvah. So congratulations, Cassie. You beat me. I mean, hey, who would have thought drafting Baker Mayfield in the 5th round was going to be an excellent strategy? I didn't. I don't think there exists a blog post that tells you to draft 2 tight ends in the first 7 rounds. But hey, Cassie, you must be the prodigy because you beat me. You're better. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do them. You know what it is.
Get them hot. Get them dates. Show dates.
Show dates. Hey, Mishawaka, Indiana, October 15th. I'm going to be at the Smokestack Brew House. I think it's a 7 or 8 o'clock show. I'm genuinely not sure. I'm going to be driving a very long time to get there, but I will be featuring at that show. It is free to attend. Weird gig. It feels like it used to be a strip club that maybe they took out the catwalk and replaced it with a bunch of tables full of Mike Pence voters. So, you know, fun times. This other event is near and dear to my heart. October 8th here in New York City, I'm going to be hosting a fundraiser for Swap Behind Bars. That is the sex workers outreach project behind bars. We're going to be doing a letter writing party to incarcerated sex workers. Swap Behind Bars matches people on the outside with sex workers on the inside, locked up. Some of them for sex work, some of them for other crimes, but all of them, you know, are in a pretty lonely position. I have a pen pal. She's locked up in Florida, and you know what? Like, she got no contact on the outside. No one talking to her. I'm like her only contact. They mean a whole lot to her. It means a lot to these gals. So if you can make it, I'd really appreciate it. We're going to get some bubbly. We're going to have some music. We'll have a guest speaker. And we're going to write some letters. I will be hosting that on October 8th at the Hacienda Villa here in Brooklyn. And you can get your ticket. There is a ticket link in the show notes of this episode. Or you can go to wearehacienda.com. Ticket sales will be donated to Swap Behind Bars. And it will mean a lot to these gals for the couple of hours of your time. Again, that's wearehacienda.com, or click the link in the show notes of this episode. All right. I don't have a ton to report to you. Like, there's a lot of stuff has happened, but also I don't feel compelled to share a ton of it. I don't know why. Like, I could complain about sleeping in my car in Ithaca on Friday night because I'm a bit of a broke bitch, trying to get all of you onto the Patreon bandwagon. I could tell you how my shows went at the Finger Lakes Comedy Festival. I could tell you about, I don't know, getting blowjobs all afternoon on Monday. I don't know. Or I could tell you about, I don't know, winning the Hamilton lottery. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I won the Hamilton lottery in Philadelphia. I don't even live there. Why was I even allowed to submit? I don't know, but I fucking won. took the gal that I'm dating. I took Megan out to Philly and we got to see Hamilton. It's the first time she's seen Hamilton. But let me tell y'all something real quick. Let me turn what could have been a sweet story about a date I had and make it into a marketing opportunity. If she wasn't available to come with me to Philadelphia to see Hamilton for $10, what I was going to do was I would have emailed all of my mailing list subscribers who live in the Philadelphia area. And I would have said, hey, I just won the Hamilton lottery. No big deal. I need someone to come with me. Tickets are $10 to see the greatest musical ever made. Who wants to come with me? I just would have sent that little email blast out, right? And then someone would have gone to go see Hamilton for super cheap. But you would have missed that email if you're not on my mailing list. So go on over to manwhorepod.com, sign for the mailing list, include your zip code, because you never know what giveaways are going to happen or when I'm coming last minute to a city near you. You don't want to miss it because you're like, you're 3 episodes behind on the podcast or because I didn't post about it on social media. So go on over to manwhorepod.com. It could result technically in you seeing Hamilton for $10. I'm just saying. Before I get to this week's guest, Leah Vernon, it is time for the fan whore appreciation moment. Okay. This is the part of the podcast where I like to give a shout out to some of the members of my fan whore community on Patreon. Patreon is a great way to both support the Man Whore podcast and enjoy a slew of great rewards. Rewards include over 100 bonus episodes of the Man Whore podcast, access to sex-positive private discussion groups, and you know what? Even just a few of my nudes. Not for nothing, on Monday I posted probably the best nude I've ever taken in my entire life. That's something you want to see. Go on over and join up today. These are some people who've done so. So I want to give a thank you right now to Desmond Barrow. Cute dog, man. I'm digging the lab, okay? Thanks for your support. Shout out right now to M. Violet. Because do you even ride, bro? Oh, man, that's so cool that you get to ride motorcycles, man. I can't because, my mommy won't let me. But it's great. I'm glad that your mommy lets you become a member of my fan whore community on Patreon. Rockin'. And a shout out to Gretchen. You know who you are, lady. You dirty, dirty bird. Let me know when you figured out what the rules are to strip Yahtzee. I am very interested in sharing that information with the world. And you too can become a member of this community with these fine, awesome people for as little as $2. Hey, man, if we ran into each other at a bar and I was just like, hey, man, I'm a little short on cash. Can you buy me a beer? In exchange for the beer, I'm going to give you over 100 bonus episodes of the show and some killer nudes. I think you buy me that beer. So here's what you should do. Go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Think of it as you buy me a beer once a month and I give you an insane amount of value. All right. Become a member today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And I guess I will also give a shout out now to Cassie Branch. Congrats on beating me this week, because you're better than me. And now for this week's guest, Leah Vernon. Leah is a model, an influencer, a writer. She is the author of Unashamed, Musings of a Fat Black Muslim. I read it cover to cover, whole thing. Very much enjoyed it. It was very intense. A lot going on there. But I connected to the last third of her book so hard, because that was the part that talked about bodies, body positivity, and learning how to love yourself and your own damn skin. Because, hey, y'all know me. Am I on a diet? Am I off a diet? Who knows? I'm hungry. So not only has Leah overcome a whole bunch of adversity, but she's also learned how to just be this badass big bitch, crushing Instagram, living some literal dreams. And I hope you all enjoy her story and our conversation. Let's go chat with Leah Vernon. The Man Whore Podcast is excited to be sponsored by HotMovies.com. HotMovies.com is a pay-per-minute porn site, and I got to tell you, this is how I view the future of paying for your porn. It's both ethical and affordable. You buy a chunk of minutes, you sit down with your Uber Lube, or you sit down with your coconut oil, or maybe you're one of those freaks who just, beats it raw. I don't know. And then you sit down and you open up and you use your minutes on whatever videos you want to watch. What's so great about Hot Movies is the variety of films on there. They've got clips and full-length movies from all your favorite porn stars, porn directors, and porn studios. And you get to feel good about it too, because using your minutes on those videos trickles back down to the performers, to the studios. Okay, you're interested. You're hooked. You want in on this. You want a deal too. Well, don't worry. Hot Movies is giving Man or Podcast listeners an exclusive deal, 20 extra minutes on top of any package you sign up for. So go on over to hotmovies.com, sign up today for the free trial. Give it a try, give it a chance, and if you like it, go buy some minutes. Again, hotmovies.com, promo code MANWHORE. And now let's get to the show.
Like Geminis, they get a really bad rap, right? And so I think that I know how to handle them because I don't pry into people's life. I never do. People are like, oh, they volunteer me information. That's really crazy. And I'm just like, does my face look like the type of person that just wants random information? Don't know, but people do it. And so with Geminis, you can't pry too much into their life. Oh. You have to let them tell you. So my friend, she be on her bullshit, and I'm just like, she's telling me a story. I know there's things she's not adding to it. I already know it off rip because I'm a Leo, and we're like that. We know we tell stories. We know how to do it. We're actresses. We already know. Mm-hmm. And so they tell you a story. You're like, and you pretend to not know and believe everything they're saying. And then the next
you mean
day,
like the way I interact with people who are into astrology? Yeah, totally. No, 100%.
And I was like, and next day they'll be like, yeah, I didn't say these two parts. I'm like, I knew that already. So now tell me the real story and let's interact. And so, I know how to deal with Geminis. You don't pry, and you give them their space when they retreat into their cave. There are a couple Geminis.
Now I got to go get a cave.
I thought you already had one.
The city's expensive enough. Come on.
Yeah, I had a cave back in Detroit. But yeah, and there are two Geminis I know that I can't stand that are liars. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think they're pretty cool people. They know when to chill. They know when to turn the fuck up. So
you just described all the opposite things about me.
Really?
You
might be a cusp.
You can pry all you want. I have zero chill. Mm-hmm. I'm the guy where you're like, did he just say that? And it was just because he's clueless. And I'm honest to a fault.
You might be a cusp though.
What's a cusp?
Cusp is you're not a true Gemini. Are you on the?
Yeah, June 5th.
Interesting. Maybe you're an anomaly.
You know what? Hey, I also failed the Kinsey test, so apparently I'm very interesting.
I haven't taken that yet. So.
I took that, and they were like, "Yeah, either you answer something wrong, or we don't know what you are."
Okay, fair. I mean, sometimes you get those as anomalies. Yeah, you might be one.
What was your ex-husband in terms of the astrological nonsense?
He was actually an Aquarius.
And is that supposed to break up, or did you only affirm that? After the breakup, and then you found the right horoscope that day to apply to him.
So a lot of people that I know, I have one Aquarius friend that I always clown, and she hates when I do it. I was like, we're not supposed to be friends. And she's like, actually Aquarius and Leos are actually supposed to get together. So they're actually compatible in some ways. But then I've heard other people say it wouldn't work. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really care for Aquarius people, but I mean, whatever.
I'm trying to date someone right now who she's a comic and she's really, really into the astrological signs. Okay. And I'm trying to figure out the right balance between and come on.
I mean, there's always going to be your socioeconomic, where you come from, if you were traumatized versus not. There's always going to be those things. But I think for the most part, Leo, I'm a Leo, I'm straight on Leo. Yeah. I'm textbook Leo.
Is there amongst the astrology community, is there a sign that is the oppressed group of in astrology land? Does there need to be a Leo Lives Matter? Is there a group that where you go hey, look, you got your socioeconomic status, you got your racial identity, you got your gender identity, and then you got your astrological sign.
I mean, I feel like everyone loves a Leo.
Everyone loves a Leo.
If they don't, then they have no class.
The white man of the signs, maybe.
No, never
No,
that.
Never that. Nothing's that powerful. Aw.
No, sorry.
Well, it's a good time to say I'm sitting right now with Leah Vernon, author of Unashamed.
Yeah.
Body positive model, activist, writer. Read your book.
Thank you for doing
Very
that.
interesting.
That's one person more than zero.
One more. Well, yeah. Well, that's just because it's not out yet. Well, apparently there are negative reviews already. Which when I saw you, I was say that I was like, how? It's not out. It's like,
I was wondering how they got that like
you getting
fucking
these press
book. I'm just
copies?
like who are you people? And it was mostly like white women. I'm like, where did you guys come from?
well, white ladies can get pretty much whatever they want.
Okay.
I'm the son of a white lady. I have two sisters who are white ladies, and when they have an issue, I don't know how, but
They talk
it's
to the
fixed.
manager? Is that what it is?
They talk to the manager. But when I bring up the whole, like, was there, like, I mean, jokingly, like in a press group in the astrology world, but it's like the idea of like having overlapping, I don't want to say situations, that's the worst word to say, but like identities that don't get a lot of love. And then I think about that in your book, like, you put it right on the things. Like, I am fat, I am black, I'm Muslim.
Yeah.
I was like, what else is life trying to throw at her? What's going on?
It's a lot.
Yeah, and then the first two chapters, like, you're just getting kicked in the dick over and over again. It's like, someone cut this gal a break. Let her graduate something. Just.
And actually, it's funny you bring that up because honestly, I did not know that I was getting kicked in the dick, as you say. I've never heard this before, but like I had to go through therapy to understand that that's not okay because I was very, very much so. I'm angry and I'm depressed and I'm anxious and I'm mostly angry, not sure why. And my therapist had to tell me as I was telling her stories about my childhood, she's like, I don't think that's something that children should go through or it's not normal per se. And I'm just like, huh. Like I never knew that
The way you brought it was just the way to be.
Yeah, like I didn't know that it was an issue. I know it was like I don't know. I guess like it was normal for me.
Well, were you cognizant early on before you realized like, oh, this isn't normal? Were you cognizant of like how the world viewed your like overlapping identities?
So I mean, I think it goes through like different phases and periods, right? But like when I went to therapy, which was extensive, when I was like maybe middle 20s, I was still kind of in the haze of like, I don't really know what's going on. I'm trying to do like one thing at a time to get my mind right because I'm about to flip my shit. I didn't really know like all the layers of all my intersectionalities. Like I didn't know how, I guess, unwanted they all were. I think I knew kind of sort of like subconsciously, but I didn't know until I started like educating myself in the body positive movement and just being in these spaces that are nothing like me and like, wow, like you're just by you sitting here right now is an act of rebellion. And I didn't know that until people were like, yeah, like you're pretty, like there's a lot going on with you. Like you're pretty badass. Like when you just come to an event, like you're just like, what the fuck? Like what's going on? And I'm just like, yeah, I didn't know.
I'm just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't do this on purpose. I'm just being me. Your feelings on being Muslim and your feelings on your body are very clear, but like your blackness, like almost, it wasn't like it's non-existent in the book, but definitely felt like that was the least connected part. And maybe, I don't know if that was just the way the book shook out as you wrote it. Well, it was noticeable to me that like most things came back to like, she's Muslim. And then the third part, like the last third of the book are about, is about your body.
Right. I'm not sure. Like, that's interesting. I think you're like maybe the second person that kind of said that. The book kind of just played out the way it played out.
Sure.
There wasn't any. So let's go back a little bit. So when I wrote the book, I was very angry. I had just got divorced.
Very angry.
Yes, I was very mad.
This book reads so angry, even at times when it's like, in all honesty, it's not the most flattering time, but yeah, it goes, she's pissed.
Yeah, I was mad.
I was reading, like, sometimes I'd read next to like my girl and I'd be like, hey, read this. She's pissed off.
No, I was mad. Actually, the copy that you have now is a lot less angry than what it was initially because I was going in and they were like, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to add some other things because you've accomplished some stuff.
Yeah.
But like the initial draft was like, I was divorced. My mom had we hadn't talked in 3 years. My father was never fucking there. and I was left alone with 2 master's degrees in a man's house that I didn't really know, but he turned out to be great, thank God. I didn't know him, didn't know what I was going to do, no job. So I wrote this book out of pure anger at white men and white women, my social economic status, living in Detroit, it was winter. Like, I was just like, I was mad. And so, it was very interesting to like kind of pour all that into the book. But like on the flip side, I was like, I'm going to write all this down because you're hurting and it needs to come out. So basically this book is basically me just pouring all the pain and trauma into something. So it wouldn't just be inside and just festering. Right. So yes, it's very angry, but also it did a really good job at kind of healing me. So I got to put these things that I haven't said or didn't let people think into like this little baby. Sure. So yeah, it's a little angry baby, but a baby nonetheless.
Yeah, it's your baby. It's your angry ass baby. Mm-hmm. But and memoirs are super personal, and this book is like super personal, obviously. And like when I do like say stand up or I write something and it's personal for me, getting notes on it because it's so personal is so rough. Yeah. Because you know the person has good intentions, but it's also like they're not criticizing or trying to correct or fix or improve something. It ends up feeling like they're trying to improve me. It's like, you think this needs a new tag? It's like, you think me as a person needs a new tag? Like, is that rough having people say, this is too angry? And like, I gotta imagine a response like, fuck you, that's my anger, I'm pissed.
I mean, I think it just like kind of goes into like that angry black woman trope, which I used to be very much so like, especially like in the workspace, because I have a business degree and I tried to work in business before all this started happening. And so I used to be around a lot of white people. And I used to always be very cognizant. It was very hard because they were super racist, like very microaggression, everything, every corner. And so I was like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to seem as the angry black girl. Sure. Like, and so now I just dove straight head in first. And if you feel like that I'm an angry black woman, that's fine. That's a personal problem. But I'm tired of having to tiptoe around people. And so, but back to your point of having, I guess, things criticized, like people who don't know you, it's the book and then it's me. But unfortunately, this is my first memoir and it's so very much so close to my heart. And so like I am working on trying to separate, people's criticisms, whether ridiculous or not, from me. And I haven't found the answer because my fucking feelings were hurt 3 days ago by some stupid ass comments by some Susan. Was
her name Susan, or is that what you call the internet commenter, Susans?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If your name is Susan, I'm very sorry. I'm sure you're a nice person who works in HR. I don't know, but I'm working on trying to separate that because I know it's not. It could be their insecurity. It could be whatever. Maybe they don't see me as human. But this book is I think it's gonna be like the death of me or the, I don't know, the coming out of me, something amazing or something really bad. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I'm scared. Frankly, I'm really afraid, honestly.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid that it's going to basically, people are going to take my story and try to spin it, as like a fat black Muslim woman who is disadvantaged in many ways. I am something that people don't expect to succeed. I am something that people don't expect to see do great things. Mm-hmm. And so I'm also the first to do this. And so I feel like people are going to be like, just, very nasty or very like, oh my God, what's happening? This is amazing. We need more of this. Mm. And so my fear is that it's going to like consume me. And I want to do other things in life, but I don't want this to consume. I don't know if I'm like blabbering, but I don't know, I'm scared because like I don't know what people are how they're going to turn it.
I can take a guess. They're going to turn it everything from fuck this bitch to what a hero, and then everything in between.
Okay.
And it's probably going to consume you because it's a book, and it's a book you put out, so you have to like be consumed. You have to go do interviews, and you have to like do the tweets, and you have to do this and go do this speaking thing, and it's going to consume you for like a short period of time. I just hope you can power through it because it seems like you should. Like you seem a big badass,
Yeah. So I have split personality. I have a badass and I also have a very like kitten who was found in a dumpster. in the back of something at a homeless shelter. Like I literally have people are like always like, oh, you're such a badass, you're so fearless. Oh my God. I'm in the fucking corner sitting there crying or some shit. And no one sees that. And I'm on a photo shoot like, all right, bitches, let's go.
If I can also be honest, I via email at minimum, I call you a badass because I'm terrified not to.
Okay.
It's like if I don't call her a badass, what is she's gonna be like? Does he not realize I'm a badass? And then I'm like, am I gonna walk into a situation where I'm gonna get dragged out? I was like, okay, let's default to badass.
No, I'm not gonna like say that's not me, but also like I have times where
why I
it's
sent you the text that I sent you. I was like, no, dude, you don't gotta be polite. Be you. Do
yeah.
you, boo-boo.
I mean, I feels it. I mean, yeah, but I definitely have like the very, very scared, frail kitten.
I feel like you've gotten already though with what you do on Instagram. Like I feel like you've already gotten some of the shittiest, worst things that could have been said.
True that.
I feel like now they're just going to also be on Amazon. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like
no, but also like the thing about it is like with memoir, it's like your family's involved, right? And so like my mom doesn't know the extent
that
of
she's in.
Yes, and she's gonna be mad. And my sister, who I love dearly, she's my older sister. We're like 7 years apart, and she's like she's an Aries. She's a voice of reason. She's like, did you tell mom about any like your book? And I'm like, no. And she's like, don't you think you should? I was like, no. And she's like, why? I was like, honestly, I'd rather wait till it comes out and see what happens and see if she like reads it or she gets the audiobook, and I'll deal with it as such. Right now I'm so stressed about just all the pre stuff of it. I can't deal with her why this and how dare you. I can't deal with that right now.
Happened and all that stuff.
Exactly. I mean, she can write a rebuttal book and just slam me if she wanted to.
And also, mom, if this book pops off, write a rebuttal book.
Exactly. And we can just keep it in the family. We can just be like, the Kardashians, keep it all in the family.
It's like, yeah, come on. There's a check at the end of this.
No, but honestly, I don't know how she's going to react. I feel like she might be mad.
Did you feel you held certain things back about anyone in the book? Or anything from the early drafts, maybe you toned down about a person in particular?
I do feel like I didn't say everything about my mom.
Uh-huh.
So you get an idea, but I didn't go into because there's so much.
As in, you feel like you held back, like she got off lighter than maybe she could have? Or do you mean
I don't think she got off lighter. I'd say I didn't. I held back on some things.
Okay.
So.
It is an interesting line to toe when we live our lives publicly on the internet, or we write a memoir or something. It's like when it comes to family or people close to you in your life, what goes in, what's sacred, what do you consult with them on, and what do you just ask for forgiveness for later?
Yeah.
I got sisters who are not talking to me now because of a podcast I put out where one of them did the podcast. It didn't go so hot. She got very nervous. She evaded every question, which is fine. It happens.
Yeah.
But to salvage it, I got on a relationship coach friend of mine, and I was like, hey, let's listen to it and we'll do commentary over it. And she provided some very interesting insights to my relationship with my sister and maybe her read on my sister so far and certain things that she revealed in the conversation, blah, blah, blah. And I put that over and I thought being a really cool episode. People seem to react positively to it. People were like, wow, this makes me think about my relationship with my sister. But my sister, not a fan.
She wasn't having it.
She's like, I didn't know you were going to bring someone in. And I was like, honestly, I thought you were going to be a better guest on stage.
Oh.
But, in my head, But that's what I had to do to do my art and to make what I do. And sometimes it's going to come at the cost of those around us.
That's true.
And it's I got to imagine your dad's still not in the life, right? So. I can't imagine you feel bad about the second chapter, which is so heartbreaking to me because you have without giving too much away, it's the first chapter is rough, and then the second chapter I felt like, oh, this will be an example of how she came through a thing, and I'm like, nope, dang, give this girl a win.
I know that first chapter I want to actually in the beginning. But the way they wanted to structure it. Because I wanted to hit the reader with something hard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, especially when I read books, it's okay, what's up with it? What is that impactful thing that just continues with you throughout the book? And I wanted something hard hitting.
Well, what made you not include certain things about your mom in the book?
I'm not... I was writing I wanted things to have purpose. I think sometimes now with social media influencers and podcast people and people just in the industry, they always want to just do stuff for the shock value. And I didn't do this for shock value. I did this because everything in the book was something that somebody else can learn from. And so I wasn't doing stuff to be like, I'm just going to put random stuff about people and make sure it's juicy. I wasn't doing that for that. I was literally writing just to write, freestyling it. And so whatever came out in the book was what I thought was necessary. Not because I was trying to shield her from anything, or not because whatever the reason was.
It's like this story. You know what? I don't need this here. Like, if I did it, maybe it's like I'm doing it out of anger, not because it's like best thing for the book.
Yeah, no, it was just like a freestyle write. Just me, just like kind of. Like, I would get up every morning and I would just write and cry, take a nap, write, cry, take a nap. Because every section I couldn't even get through without crying, just recalling painful situations. So it was a lot of crying. I think, it was a lot of naps, a lot of snacks.
A lot of naps, a lot of snacks.
Because like when you know, as an artist, when you put something so personal and you're recalling stuff that happened when you were 7 and 9 and 11 and 13 and like really fucked up stuff that you wish that you couldn't remember. It takes a lot of energy out of you. People don't understand that part. Even when I'm on set modeling, like I am literally dead after I host or do modeling. Like I'm done. It's a lot of energy. So
and again, like the positive feedback for it like makes people I don't think realize like how big like just random like positive comments on or a review on Amazon or on Instagram or whatever, like actually do mean, because like we can't say stop doing negative ones because that'll never happen. But like I encourage people like go leave positive stuff out there, because you might think like, oh, that was great. Awesome. Next. But just take like a second and just like let that person know in whatever like platform you want. Hey, I really enjoyed this. This was great. Because it lets us know like this was a good thing, because they're going to be the negative pieces of feedback regardless.
Exactly.
Even if it's a masterpiece, there's gonna be some shithead with a 1-star review. So we need that positive feedback loop to know that's not only negative reactions. But I think like people who react positive to stuff, you know, are very passive about it.
That is true.
They're very apathetic. That's why there aren't like, you know, people are more excited to go leave a 1-star review on Yelp than a 5-star review.
That's true. I'm gonna say I'm also guilty of this, and like so now that you said it, I'm gonna start going through all my friends' books and actually putting reviews, because you're right. Like I'm not even gonna say I'm guilty of doing that, honestly. So no, one thing I do like in the industry of like the body positive activists, the models and stuff like that, like I gas them up in their comment section. Like I gas them and blow them up because I know they're getting trolled. So I will do it on like Instagram and like their blogs and Facebook and stuff like that. But Amazon and stuff, like I do need to start like doing that as well. So
yeah, and you're really big on the Instagrams,
on the gram,
gram.
I'm a baby influencer.
Baby influencer. Is that baby? You got the blue check mark. You got a K in there.
Oh, you're right. I do got a K in the check mark.
I don't have a K in the Instagram yet, but I just got my first K on Twitter. I was really happy about it.
Come on now.
Hey everybody, we got a K.
And you hoes are mad about it.
That's why I'm like, I was a little shocked when you said like, you used the like, you're like, I'm scared for the comments of this, because on Instagram is notorious for just shitty people, especially towards women or fat women or black women or Muslim women. And you just got all of it. You're like, give me all of the whatever insult you can come up with. Let's make it.
I feel like because like Instagram is like, maybe because I've been doing it for a long time. Like I've been doing Instagram now for like 7 or 8 years. And so maybe I've conditioned myself to like be okay, but sometimes that stuff still gets me, but I can't like let it roll off better because the memoir is so fresh and new. This is my first one. I just don't know what to expect. So I think over time I will get better with like criticisms on the book. Like once I get the hang of it, cause like I'm still I'm a first time author. And so with Instagram, like people have said and like made really fucked up stuff about me and people that I know. I'm just like, wow, this is a lot to handle.
Yeah, and that's why I thought maybe you'd be like almost immune to it by now.
No, it doesn't. No, and no, because it's a different situation. And then also like I've been writing longer than I've been doing like the whole blogging, social media influencing. I've been writing since I was like 6 years old, and so writing has always been very, very personal to me. I feel like with social media stuff, it's like, oh, okay, you can, anybody can do that.
Yeah.
With the writing thing, it's so dear and personal to me. It's literally like my baby. Like, it's very close to my heart. Not saying like social media is not too, but this is something totally, like, I've always dreamed about being like a New York Times bestselling author. I never dreamed when I was younger I was going to be like an international model. Like, I never thought that was possible.
Well, because there was no model for it. For back because we're roughly the same. You're early 30s, right?
I'm 87 years old.
You're 87.
I'm 87 years old. Yes, sir. I'm just kidding.
I'm 89. Oh, okay.
No, I'm 32. I turned 32.
When we were growing up, there was no thing for that. Like, there was no big girl models. Like, that wasn't a thing.
The two people that I idolized, like, who were like plus size, were Oprah and Mimi from Drew Carey. Those are the only two people, because like she was like, oh, she's fat, she's funny, and she has like her makeup's a little weird, but she's still a fat woman on TV.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, that's cool, but like as far as like a ton of people that we have now, and it's amazing to be a part of the movement where there's so many like fat activists and plus size models and body positive activists, and I get to be like amongst the pioneers of like changing the industry, and that's cool.
When was the first time you saw someone like you in the media and you went like, oh, that's like me?
There's actually a couple times. So like, I think in the whole social media influencing world is a couple bloggers like Essie Golden, who I just adore. And it was funny because like I just took like a boomerang with her, and I see her in New York now because she lives like in New York. And she, the first time I saw her picture was on Tumblr. For all you youngins, that used to be like the happening spot. I saw Essie Golden's picture on Tumblr. She had big boobs. She was black, and her pictures looked amazing. And I'm like, oh my God, this could be me at some point in life. And that picture, I saved it somewhere on like my Android phone or my Nokia phone. And I remember like just being so in awe by her. And then I followed her on Instagram, and she like knows me and stuff. And she's like, hey, Leah V, hey girl. I was like,
what do I say?
Essie Golden knows me. And I put up like a thing. I'm like, I honestly started because of you. And it's just amazing to be amongst people like that who I started, and now we're in the same kind of, category. She's still huge. But I mean, and then also like, and so for the book world, Samantha Irby, and she's huge, and she just emailed me back and was like, yeah, send me your book. And I'm like, oh my God.
Really?
Samantha Irby is like everything to me. Yeah. And I'm just like, she knows me. And she's like, yeah, I know you. I'm like, ah. So like you just have like these fangirl moments. Like honestly, when I'm in these spaces outside, I look like a confident drag queen, but inside I feel like I'm just like, am I really standing here right now amongst these people who do really well in the industry? Like I still have those moments where I'm like, do I belong here with these people? Because these people are like the real deal. And I'm just like, okay, I have to remind myself that I've worked very fucking hard to be sitting right here where I am right now. And I deserve to be in these spaces just as much as they do. So I toggle back and forth from fangirling to a bitch, you deserve a seat here.
And I saw, so like you had a post, I guess like after whatever Susan upset you on Amazon.
Yeah.
And but you asked like at the end of posts, you're asking like, what do you do to when you're going? Do you feel similar things? What do you do to get through? And I commented myself in the car. I was just like, I do what you just said. I do those quick affirmations in my head. I go like, I deserve to be here. I am worthwhile. Like I'm allowed to be here in this space. People here want me. There are people here who want me here. Even if there are people here who also don't. And like, that's just why I have to tell myself if I'm going to like a sex positive, like gathering of some sort or whatever, or a sex party. Sometimes I have to do it there too. I have to be like, Billy, you're worthy. You're allowed to be here.
You have to self-talk. I feel like there's a lot of negative talk going on. And I used to be that person who was so, I know you're probably familiar with body dysmorphia.
Sure.
But I'm sure I'm not like the highest, but I do have hints of it. And so like it's very interesting because like there's some days where I feel like the ugliest, biggest, most disgusting person ever. And I hate
you call that the Billy.
No, stop.
Feeling a Billy.
I hate it. So I'm just like, this is not true, but you just allow that negative self-talk. Like, okay, you are the biggest, you are the ugliest, you are the like least smartest person in the whole wide world. And so you need to just stay in the bed because like, fuck it. Like, what's the point? And so we have to look at what we've done and kind of like, that's where gratefulness comes in. I try to practice that too. Cause I have my diva moments where I'm like, they're only offering 1,000. I want 2. And so like, I'll do shit like that. And I'm just like, bitch, stop, humble yourself. Yeah. You got bills to pay. Stop it. and be grateful for what you're being given. I'm not saying like, underestimate yourself, but we have to be grateful and remember that the person that we are right now is the person that we prayed to be a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And so like I have to be reminded by followers and friends and stuff like that. Like where you're standing right now is where you said you wanted to be a couple years ago. So figure it out.
It's like, and you did it. And so be happy you did it. Because here it comes.
Yeah.
Here come the Susans.
They're everywhere.
Well, I just like it because when you say Susan, like you have, I have two images in my mind. I have the woman doing the comments and I have Susan Sarandon, and both of them bring joy to my life. I just get
I do like Susan Sarandon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, if you go like a Susan on Amazon,
She's
like
cool
I know
Susan.
exactly what she looks like. I can picture her. You know
I can too. The angle bob.
Yeah.
The biracial son named Jaden. The whole shebang. They ask for the manager for coupons that are expired. Shit like that.
Yeah, but like still oddly attractive. So you've got the book. The book's going to come out, and you're going to get these responses, and you're going to get shitty ones that are shitty for being shitty, and you're going to get all the praise for the great things that's in it.
Okay.
But like you really put things out there. Like you put things into there that aren't the prettiest to share about oneself.
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts about the less flowery portions of the book?
It was hard to put in there.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I'm incriminating myself.
I mean, you were technically already arrested for it. I feel like you can't get arrested for it again. I know those are the rules for people who look like me. I don't know what the rules are going to be.
It's bad.
Make something up.
It's bad. No, but yeah, it's very hard to tell the truth about yourself. Mm-hmm. I think like going back to social media, like even now there's certain topics that I'm just like, should I say this? Or because I know that people are like when I told them about the abortion that I had at 19, I had to tell them because I was going to just take it to my grave. But like I put it on social media during the whole situation, the political situation with the abortion ban. Okay. And I was just like, it's a disservice for you not to share your abortion story, because I was not going to say anything until like the book came out. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to make a decision to say it. And I was cringing the whole time, like, oh my god, I'm going to get smashed, I'm going to trample. Like, people are going to like,
I mean, you operate in a progress. Oh, okay,
and I'm Muslim. I have a lot of Muslim followers, and so they don't give a fuck about that. And so I'm not even kidding, I posted a picture from LA and I had a little shirt down to here, like maybe touching the top of my boobs. I have like 100 people unfollow me just because like more chest was showing than usual.
Sure.
And so with that said, I was like, I'm going to get smashed and trampled. And actually, shockingly, I didn't really get smashed and trampled. Although there could be like some hate blogs out there that took the information and did it. Because that sometimes happens. There'll be like some hate blogs will take a topic and then do a whole, like, just slam me. Yeah. I don't know if that happened. Probably did. But some things I still cringe about. And like with the book coming out, there's other topics in there that I have to now say again on Instagram that I didn't share with people. And so like I still get a little scared that I'm going to get like, read or something like that. And so it comes with the territory. There's no one like, I'm just going to put this out there and it's going to be perceived properly. Like no one, that's not the internet is cancel culture. The internet is, what's the next thing that I can drag somebody? You know what I mean? So like that's a valid concern.
Well, it's interesting when you said, because I wasn't thinking about when you said like, oh, sharing an abortion, I'll get dragged. I'll be like, oh, what? You're like you operate in a progressive space. I'd assume you have like these progressive followers, but then like you were like, yeah, I have a huge Muslim following, and then I go like, oh yeah, duh. But what's and this is my own ignorance. Like I don't think we always put the words progressive and Muslim together, and you obviously are. What does a progressive Muslim look like? I mean, are there some different values than the progressive movement as a whole? So obviously like abortion seems to be maybe one of them. Yeah.
Like abortion and birth control. I like to always tell people, because people, every time I talk about like anything Islam, people are like, you're adding to Islamophobia by telling things that you're telling. And I'm just like, well, this is what happened. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? Like, I'm like, yeah, Muslims are all amazing people. Like, what the fuck, we're human beings. And that's the problem. People, a lot of Muslims want the society to think that they are perfect. And it's just like, that's messing up the mental of the Muslims who are in there who are not trying to meet up this, live up to this perfect standard. And so, I mean, I like to say that all Muslims, we all have like the same overall values, but then sometimes they start diverging when it talks about sexual orientation or women's sexuality, misogyny, racism. There's all the same things that happen in the real world happens the same thing with Muslims. And a lot of people don't either want to talk about it, don't want to educate themselves about it. But with like abortion, like there's some Muslims who believe that you're just like, you're done. Like you just throw yourself in hell. Like you're done. And some of them are a little bit more progressive and be like, if it's between these months, then you're fine, because they don't consider the fetus to have a soul, so it's not actually a human. And then there's like rules against like if the mom is dying or medical reasons. And some are just like, I don't care. No, that's just haram, which means forbidden. And so I don't really like talking like too much because like I don't really know. I mean, yes, I'm Muslim and I feel like I'm very spiritual, but sometimes when it gets to some of the stuff that you need to do as a Muslim, I don't do.
You're not into all the dogma as much anymore.
Not anymore necessarily.
It seems
it's hard to explain because it would have to be like a whole session on just Muslims and how they roll. But
I'm interested in like you and how like you practice like Islam, because like in the book, my perception of you was that you were pretty hardcore with it.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like there was the inflection point where you kind of start loosening up and you start modeling and you start like showing what you want to show and say fuck it. Like if they want to call me bad for a bad Muslim woman, whatever, fuck 'em.
Right.
So there seemed to be an inflection point where like you kind of practiced differently.
It's actually very interesting. So there's like religion and there's spirituality.
Sure.
And so religion to me is like very, very by the book, right? There's not really any gray areas. And spirituality is like something that's in your chest, it's in your heart, it's in your soul that you feel. And I actually think that I'm more spiritual than I ever was at this point. Because like a lot of times I was pretending to be a good Muslim. Like I was just doing the movement so people wouldn't talk shit about me. And a lot of people I've spoken to in different religions, like whether it was hardcore Christianity or hardcore Judaism, say they've done the same thing. Where it's like, I'm just gonna do these things because I want to be seen as a good person. And like even in Islam, like if your intentions are not good, it doesn't even count as a good deed.
Right.
So you can like pretend to be what you want to be, but like your creator knows that you're just lying about it. So it's interesting because I feel like my spirituality, even though I seem to do less, my spirituality is much stronger. Like I see a lot in the sky. Like I see him in the birds flapping around, or when I go to an art museum. Like it's not just about, okay, well it's the Quran and it's the fasting and the modesty and all these things. Like my religion goes so further than that. You know what I mean? And so it's a way of life for me. It transcends. And so I try to tell people all the time, like the way we see religion, men have unfortunately skewed a lot of this and made it into this very harsh thing when religions are not supposed to be like this. So if people fuck with it, they do. If they don't, I respect that too. But I think that I'm very much so spiritual, more spiritual, and I'm very, very much so Muslim. And whether people say I'm not or I'm a bad, role model, which I've been told many a times, that doesn't take away from my Muslimness. So,
well, when you got divorced, which is like supposed to be a no, and when you have this inflection point, like how did you start marrying your spirituality and your Islam with your sexuality? And that doesn't necessarily mean your sex life, but like just the idea of like feeling sexy in your skin, or being like letting yourself wear certain clothes that made you feel good. It can mean your sex and dating life, but it doesn't just have to be that.
That's
I'm curious
true.
how you put the two together, your new understanding of your religion with your new understanding kind of yourself that seemed that you had it in your late 20s.
Yeah, it was interesting because like I definitely dressed differently when I was married versus what I dress now.
Yeah.
He was not like there. I think there's a story in the book when he cussed me out over the pants I wore to the mosque. He like went off on me.
There's so much description in the book of the types of clothes you're wearing. In like almost every scene, it almost feels like I know what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And it was like, it seemed like you made a point to say like what you're wearing,
very important.
what's covering, how did it feel on your skin?
Because it's very important, like in the Islamic community, especially for girls, it's very important. Their clothing is like everything. Like that makes or break you. Like you can be a really bad Muslim, and as long as you're dressed properly, you're good to go.
Sure.
And so that makes everything. So like I made it a point to make sure I just like explain to the reader who may not be Muslim to understand that Muslim women's bodies and women's bodies in general are always policed, and you're never modest enough. You know, you can always add an extra layer.
Yeah.
You can always wear a darker color. And it's just like, I want to wear colors and I want to take 2 layers off. Like, I might not want to wear that. Like, and so it's just like, you're so judged for it. So, but yeah, my dressing, like, I felt like I always had to dress down because of him. Had to always dress in more layers because he would go off on me if I had pants on or I would show my body, and things of that nature. But I think that once I got divorced, I was just like, I think it's time for you to figure out what you want to do and how you want to roll with it. And it was actually interesting. I don't remember if this story is in the book or not, but I didn't want to be Muslim anymore when I got divorced because the way they treated me. Not because I didn't believe in Allah or the Prophet Muhammad or any of the ways. I didn't want to be Muslim because of the people. And that just honestly makes me mad to even say this because like that's not even what it's about. Like your spirituality is between you and your creator. And so I remember my friend, so it was Ramadan, which is when Muslims fast. And everyone knows in Ramadan, there's dinners everywhere, right? But also there's like talks or halakas, like where you talk about like religion and stuff like that. So my friend is like, I'm in a bad mood because like I got divorced. I'm mad every day. And so my friend's like, my sister's having a halakha dinner. You should come through. And I'm like, I don't feel like hearing anything about Muslims. I don't feel like hearing anything about religion. And she's like, well, it's free food. I was like, I am hungry and poor.
Let me rethink this.
Right. So I ended up going just for the food. And so all these Muslim sisters are there. I'm just like, whatever, where's the food at? Let me get the quiche. Let me get the chicken wings.
That seems like a good spot to pretend you're new to Islam. Because then it's like, oh, she just doesn't know better. And then you enjoy your free food while you placate them.
I knew them all. I know them all.
Oh,
it wasn't like sometimes it is random stuff like that, but no, I actually knew them all. They know me since I was little. Sure. So I go like whatever, eating my food, and so they're talking about Islam, and so I'm sitting there, just had an attitude, eating my quiche. And she, at the end, she's like, and she's a very good Muslim woman. She covers, she has kids. Like, I see her as a really good Muslim person. And so she's like, does anyone have any questions about anything we, said or any of the, sermon? And I'm just like looking around, no one's saying anything. I raised my hand. I was just like, well, I'm not a good Muslim and I don't want to be Muslim anymore. And they're like, okay, like where's this coming from? I was like, because my ex said wasn't a Muslim. He called me non-Muslim many times because of the way I dress. And if I can't do this right, I'm not doing it at all. And I was just super frank with it. And usually I'm not like in those settings, but I was so fed up with the whole like, Muslim woman, facade. I was mad. I was irritated. And these are all women who cover, like they're real Muslim. And she's just like, she didn't like frown at me or anything. She said simply, she's like, Leah, I don't care if you wear a 2-piece bathing suit, you are still Muslim. And I'm like, she's like, don't ever let anyone make you question who you are. And I was just like, damn. And that really honestly hit me. Like, it's so simple, but I didn't know that. I thought like I needed validation from these people. And I'm just like, so I went home and I'm just like pondering on that shit. And I'm just like, I can be Muslim and be myself. After that, I'm just like, I would never let anyone like with that question or allow their evilness or what I'm not doing. You feel more comfortable
with the Muslim community now after that incident?
Not necessarily with the Muslim community, but with myself.
Well, yourself as being a Muslim.
Yeah, as being a Muslim and also doing modeling or doing blogging or saying things that might be inappropriate sometimes. Like, I can still be Muslim.
All right. Well, I was going to get at like getting more comfortable from that end of the criticism, but then it's like, okay, well, now I got to deal with the rest of the world seeing me as a Muslim woman, and then how we combat that.
Yeah.
As again, being like someone who's progressive and feminist, like, Islam is one of the religions that like gets a lot of flack for like the gender disparity. And like, how have you been coming to terms with that? And what like, I don't even know what to ask. 'Cause like, I know very little.
Yeah.
I mean, when people ask me about Palestine and Israel, I'm like, my stance is the stance of the last person who told me about it. I don't know. I don't fucking know yet. It's
a lot. It's a lot. Because a lot of Muslims a lot of them don't tell the truth when they're doing interviews. They like to keep it very surface. Right. So for a lot of people, they don't understand. So when I come through, they're like, what? Yeah. What information are you giving me? I'm so interested in it.
The limited information I have goes like, wow, it seems like they treat women like generally this way and doesn't seem great. It seems limiting or whatever. I know that's not probably the full truth.
It's not necessarily the full truth. So what I personally don't like is how they only do that to Muslims when they're like Orthodox Jews that do the same thing, and then also Orthodox Christians that do the same thing.
For sure. I would just say that for those are like sects. Those we don't see Orthodox Jews as how Jewish people are. And so, like, I personally know I don't know what different sects of Islam there are.
Right.
But we see all of Islam as this.
Unfortunately, because of course the media always doing fucked up shit like that. Because it's like, I'm like, there are a lot of women oppressed in different cultures and religions, not just Islam. But I do feel like in Islam there is.
I just meant that, like, I think we see Orthodox Jews as like a subset of Judaism, but whatever section of Islam that is, like, we see that as representative of the whole.
Of the whole, so. Yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate because I do get that a lot. They're like, I have people when I cuss, they're like, Muslims cuss? Or if I come into a fashion show, Muslims dress like this? And I'm like, can you stop doing that? Like, it's 2019. Yeah. Like, stop expecting people. But of course, if you only have a limited knowledge or you don't know Muslims or you don't know the ones that are telling the truth, of course you'll do that. And this is upsetting because I'm like, yeah, I look like this and I do these things and I'm still Muslim. But there is some misogyny in Islam, unfortunately. And there are Muslim women who are oppressed. A lot of us aren't, but there are some that are. I know some personally who are my friends and they're getting oppressed. They might not want to say they are, but they are, by men, unfortunately. And Muslim men, they're like my biggest fans. And I mean that with the most sarcasm. They honestly don't like me. And I love it. Muslim men are just like, Leah V is coming with her feminism. That is ruining the community. I'm just like, how? Like, you ruined your own fucking community with your misogyny and your ridiculousness. They honestly don't like me. Like, I get like side eyes, dumbass questions.
That I totally believe. I'm just curious, like, how you have married both feminism and Islam, two things you believe in. How have you married these things that seem, at least again, from an uninformed point of view, seem like they're in conflict? Where do you see the overlaps?
Well, I mean, I think so in the Quran, there's like different sections for women's rights. The people just don't follow them because they don't want to. And so feminism is in Islam. People don't want to say that it is, but it's already built in. Now, the other things that I'm doing, that's like a little bit off the wall. Those are not in there.
Like what?
This is fine. I mean, like dating non-Muslim men. I mean, I haven't dated in a long time, but when I was like dating non-Muslim men, that's not cool. That's not, in there, not cool for you to do. So there's certain things like that, but feminism and the basics of women's rights is already in there, like education, not oppressing them, allowing them to have, get divorced if they want to. That's in there.
So is the modesty stuff not supposed to be oppressive, but rather serving a different purpose? So, at least within the book. I mean, we know that like man makes the rules and then sells it how they sell it. But within the book, is it kind of sold as like, oh, this part of it's not an oppressive part. This is an empowering thing, or a way to connect with your creator.
Right. So this latter is the thing about showing that you're Muslim, right? Because you wouldn't know if somebody was Muslim without a hijab on. Like, you just wouldn't. So it's that. Also,
I mean, now it'd be like, oh, it's Queen Latifah. No, I was like, I don't know.
I'm done with you. Queen Latifah. Yeah, so it's like, it's empowering for a lot of people to be able to show that they're connected to their creator. I don't think that, I think it does say, it says modesty for Muslim men and women. A lot of times, unfortunately, people like to focus on women because we like to police women's bodies. But there's modesty for Muslim men too. They just don't talk about it because they're men. And so like, there's these two sides and only one side is being spewed. We're like, what are women doing with their bodies? Like, well, what are men doing with their bodies? And so we don't get
like, oh,
that.
we'll take care of that later. Let's first make sure we really lock this down.
Let's talk about women, what the fuck they're doing.
Are you wearing your hat? Just what are the women doing though?
Exactly. That's what they do. I'm not kidding.
As he like reaches, like, where'd I put the hat? Women really are fucking things up.
Exactly. That's what they do. And it's really, I'm like, but what about you?
When you mentioned, like, because didn't your husband cheat, right?
Yeah.
Right. Your ex-husband. And it was like,
I don't know the extent of his cheating.
But there was just the idea of like
some discrepancies.
He shits on you for being like a bad Muslim so much. It was like, well, what about you?
That's what I told him at the end. I'm like, wow, this is what you do as a person who just sat here and just like dogged me for not wanting to wear hijab properly or not wanting to dress. Then you do all these things. I'm so confused. And I told him at the end when the first situation happened, I told him like, don't ever talk about what I'm wearing in your fucking life. And I mean that. Like, don't ever fucking say anything about how tight my clothes are, if I wear hijab or not, because you just you're over here doing all this stuff, but then you want me to be this perfect virgin, like pastel wearing hijabi person. And you're doing this over here. I'm like, no. But that's our reality sometimes, is that they want you to be this person, but the Muslim man want to do what they want to do and just focus on your problems and your issues. I think a lot of Muslims now, whether they're covered, not covered, whether they're hijabis or not hijabis, are actually understanding their rights. And there's a lot of movements for like women's equality, for oppressed Muslims, stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, I see you, sis. Do your thing. Like from Africans to African Americans to white converts to like Middle Eastern girl, like they're
Lindsay
all.
Lohan. Yeah, you can come in too.
No, we're gonna.
We
not,
got-
I don't know.
you guys
I don't know about that. I don't know
let's
about
close
that.
the door.
I think Sinead O'Connor's Muslim now.
I
would accept that because I feel like she's been cool before, so I feel like she's cool now.
Lindsay Lohan, you're like, tell
Lindsay
her it's at
Lohan,
8, but
not
it's at 7.
sure.
Let's
We're
lock
gonna
the door.
we'll talk about that later.
Give
But
her the wrong address.
right to the gathering, she comes. It's like no one there. Yeah, but there's so many movements happening in the Muslim community. I'm so proud to be here to see that.
What's
when I was
one
growing up,
in particular that may not get as much press as I wouldn't know about it?
I mean, there's just like small little. I mean, there's not like an actual name on it, but there's just movements of just like Muslim women asking for what they want, asking for the same amount of rights that a Muslim man has, and being like, or speaking up to their husbands and being like, no, I'm going to school. Like, no, I'm not having kids right now. Like, I'm taking control and ownership of my body, and I like that because like. It's just when I was growing up, I didn't see that. I saw Muslim women kind of just going along with what their husbands wanted,
Including being Muslim, which was the way I read with your mom, because it was like it was one of the, not your father, but one of her later husbands was the one
she wanted to become Muslim because she wanted to.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
misread that. I thought she became Muslim for one of the guys. Okay.
Some people do, but not my mom. She actually wanted to become Muslim.
Okay,
They weren't even married when she became Muslim. She just liked the religion and she wanted to become Muslim.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there are some situations where, I mean, it's not like forced upon. Usually they tell you like, you have to be Muslim to be with me. And that usually means that you need to go ahead and convert over.
Okay.
So
so you said you haven't dated in a while.
yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, in the book, when leading up to meeting your ex-husband, like lots of it has to, you'd make a lot of notice of like, I'm not sleeping with someone before marriage.
Yeah.
It's like, it was a very religious look on what relationships are supposed to be.
Right.
Where do you stand now? Are relationships and sex still a sacred thing for you? Is there, like, what's your relationship with it now since, since leaving him?
It's like definitely my sex life and sexuality has been very, very like up and down.
So you do have non-marital sex?
Yes.
Okay.
I have. Not recently.
Sure.
It's because I'm doing this thing where, I think for any of the listeners who have ever been divorced or anything like that. So the first person that I lost my virginity to was my, ex-husband. And so a lot of my other friends were already sexually active. Like I was older in the game. Cause I wanted to save my virginity because, in Islam and other religions it's very, sacred. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it should be something special. And so that's what I wanted to do. Fortunately, it didn't happen like that. And so when I got divorced, I had something to prove. And it was a very dark time for me. So I'm just like basically just bouncing around from different people. Because I felt like, I'm like, you know what? Men do it all the time. And my friends have done all these things. So I need to do it too to prove something to myself. But honestly, I was hurt and I wanted to fill a void. And I used people to do it, unfortunately, men. And so I think that during one situation in particular, I felt like I had objectified myself by allowing just getting like random people and doing that, being on these streets. And I'm very sex positive. I think if people do that, that's fine, but it shouldn't be to fill voids. It shouldn't be to use people because you don't want to be alone.
Right. That's not healthy for anybody.
Happening. Right. And I did that for a couple months, and I was just crying to my friend on the phone, my best friend. I'm just like, I've objectified my own fucking self. I'm on the internet talking about like feminism and like doing all this stuff, and I'm just objectifying myself and just being super toxic.
And it's like, am I a fraud? Like,
right.
What am
I'm
I
just
doing?
like, she's like, you were going a little hard. And I'm just like, I know. So after that, I was like, this is not the life for me, and I want to see what celibacy feels like. So I've been celibate for, I think, maybe like 2.5 years now.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
May I ask, does that include solo adventures?
Oh, you mean like masturbation?
Masturbation, yeah.
No, I do that.
Oh, okay.
Not
You're
a
like,
lot,
I'm not crazy. What are we doing?
No, I still do that.
It's like, you
But,
should see
like-
my drawer. It's an arsenal.
It's actually empty. I'm very lame, but maybe in the future when I get some money. But yeah, like so my celibacy.
Well, you kidding me? The Muslim woman masturbation guide, you get all the free toys you'd want in the world.
That would be great.
And ain't no
honestly.
one doing it either. Slip
all
into
toys.
that empty space.
Yeah. No, but like, so me being celibate was something that, and honestly, it wasn't even for religious purposes. It was for, I wanted to see what it was like if I took that out of the equation and how could I thrive and survive. And I wanted to just, first, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 3 months. And I'm going to do 6 months. Now I'm going to do 9 months. Now I'm going to do a year and see how that is.
Challenge.
And honestly, like, it's helped me tremendously understand myself more and understand that that's not who you are. Mm-hmm. And if the time is right, then I'm all for it. But I'm not going to use men and use sex as something to fill a void. I'm not going to do that to people because, like, I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So I had to really just like understand, like, also I think I'm demisexual. I thought I was asexual for a second.
Okay.
But this trans man in Utah told me that I was demisexual. I was like, oh my God, thank you for teaching me about these spectrums. I'm so excited to know this. So I don't really like, I'm not hypersexual. I don't need to like do that. Mm. I get off in other ways, like succeeding. I'm weird. I'm a Leo.
It's not weird. It's not
I'm
weird.
just like, and then also like intimacy, like I want that, but also I don't want it because I'm so traumatized from my ex. So I don't really, when I see other couples like holding hands and doing like cute shit, I'm just like, oh, I want that so bad. Yeah. And I think about all the shit that I was, when I was with my ex and I was the most loneliest person ever. I'm just like, I don't want that again. I don't want that again. So I'm still in the man hate phase, and I'm still in the
Well, then I appreciate you letting me. I mean, not only a man, I'm white. I'm wearing a shirt that says "Proud to be a problem."
I just noticed that. Wow, get out of my house.
Which like this is like a motivating, awesome, empowering shirt on anyone else. On me, it's like, oh fuck. Hide the torches.
It's a little douchey.
No, a little douchey.
It's fine.
Yeah, but it's
as long as the intention was good.
It's the intention's fine. Also, well, I have like someone staying in my like room for Airbnb right now, so I have like a go bag right now of t-shirts, and this is one that like is the loosest on me. Okay, which is like just today I need that.
No body tees.
But then also I was like, I feel like Leah would kind of get into a shirt like this on somebody else, but I feel like she'd be, and she's like she seems proud to be a problem.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually just read it. There's like a little Black Panther on it. I don't know if that's
yeah. But you know that's but there is a sense of this like proud to be a problem. Like if my body's a problem to you, too bad. If the way I do Islam is a problem to you, too bad. Yeah. I'm a black woman, deal with it. Too bad.
Yeah. That's my pretty much attitude. You just like describe me in like 30 seconds.
Absolutely, yeah. I read the book. Cover to cover. Ain't all of it the most flattering, but like I said, I was like, I got an idea who she is.
Yeah.
Totally do. And that's why I asked about the putting unflattering things in the book, because it's not someone calling you out about the thing. It's saying like I don't think most people would know you hit your husband unless you put it in your book.
Yeah, probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's you saying like, I'm going to put this out there. And some people might appreciate the honesty. And some people might drag you.
I'm actually not. That's like the least proud moment.
And
a lot of stuff I didn't like. A lot of stuff I don't regret. But that was honestly something I regret. Like I was like, I never want to put my hands on another person again. If I feel like I need to put my hands on you, I will literally leave the situation. Like I would literally never put my hands on somebody again. Because like that's something I definitely regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like writing? Because so also the other thing with this is that the memoir is not like super far removed time wise,
right?
From when things
happened yesterday, clearly,
right? No, yeah, but seriously, like you got divorced like only a couple, 3-4 years ago.
3 years.
Yeah. So, what was it like reliving something you're not proud of? Because I think we all have an idea what it's like to relive stuff that hurts and it pains us. But from somebody else. So the stories like with your dad and your mom, we all have an idea what that feels like. We've all revisited sad times in our lives, but the revisit something you're not proud of. Like I've done that a lot in my soul searching. I'm curious like what that process was like.
I mean, I think that at the time I was just putting it down. I was embarrassed while I was writing it. I'm just like, damn. And that like what I put in there honestly wasn't like, there was more other graphic fights. Mm-hmm. I just didn't want to overdo it with all the fights. Cause again, shock value. I just want to put like, this is what happened. You can put two together. There were probably other gruesome fights as well, where I put my hands on him, but I was embarrassed. But it was never a point where it was just like, I shouldn't put this in here because it's the truth. That's why I went to jail. It's because I put my hands on him. And that's why a couple other times I could have went to jail because I put my hands on him.
Yeah.
And so in order for me to tell like speak my truth about the whole jail situation. And I could have been like that bitch and it was like, I'm just going to put the jail part and leave the rest out. But I was like, you know what? No. They need to understand that spousal abuse is a thing, whether it's emotionally, physically, sexually, that's a thing.
And regardless of the gender.
Exactly.
I think we definitely don't like picture.
Exactly. And so I thought that was very important to say because that's a thing. But the reason why I felt comfortable or would resort to doing that is because that's what I seen. And so in order for us to start breaking these stigmas, we have to be truthful with ourselves about these things, right? And also I didn't want people to think that I was a goody two-shoe or I was a victim or this melodramatic thing where Leah gets all these things happen to her and, you know, she's the victim. You know, like I've victimized other people. And so I wanted to make sure that this was not a one-sided book where I told the truth about stuff. And even then I probably didn't even tell more things that I probably did to other people. Because I know I've affected people negatively. I know that already. But I didn't want this to be like, oh, she's a goody goody and like, oh, you know, she's just had all these things happen to her. She's never did anything to anybody else. I'm a human being. Of course I have. So I thought it was important to put that in there. Even though I'm embarrassed to people to read that.
Yeah.
But yes.
No, definitely. I read it and then I was like, at bare minimum, I was like, I respect very much that she put this in here because I don't think she needed to, or that you could have downplayed it, or if you wanted to show like a negative side of you could have found like a tamer negative thing to put in.
True that.
So it was definitely powerful because it kind of surprised me when it comes in the book.
Yeah.
Did
I don't
you
think
find
I've
yourself
ever read that before. Like in another book, people like a woman admitting to abusing. Maybe I haven't read all the books, but I've not really.
Well, it's definitely, it's also, we don't like talk about as much. We don't, you know, when we hear domestic violence, we always have a very specific image in our head. Just like when people say so-and-so is an abuser, we have an image in our head. Now, and then sometimes people go like, oh yeah, so-and-so was very emotionally abusive. I'll be like, okay, but also like, you know, by saying just abusive, you know, you were trying to put a certain image in my head. Right. Because you knew if you said emotionally abusive, we maybe wouldn't have responded with the same severity as abusive.
Yep.
But no, it was very powerful to put in there. Did you find yourself going back and making any amends to anyone in the process of writing this book?
Honestly, I wrote the book in 3 months, so it was a very short
Banged
time.
It out, yeah.
I think, I mean, because I didn't put like everybody, like all of my victims, and then also some people deserved it. Not even gonna lie, there's some people in my life that were really fucked up, and I retaliated, maybe more so than I should have. Oh well, because you shouldn't fuck with people.
Yeah.
There's that, and
I'll
maybe
pray like whether or not it's in the book, maybe in the process of writing, like having revelations and being like, you know what, like maybe I owe that person a text or something, or a call or something. No, you were like, this is good. It is what it. No. Okay.
I mean, maybe I should go back.
I don't know.
In my life, I feel like I should go back and.
I was just
no,
curious.
honestly, I feel like I'm a pretty straightforward person, and if I don't talk to you or something happened in the past, it was a two-sided situation. Now there's some situations like I think I have apologized to my ex for putting my hands on him. I definitely have apologized for that and told him that I would never do that again, no matter what the situation is. Sure. And it was actually sad because at one point, when we were going through a divorce, he was being emotionally abusive and I had to like fight to not put my hands on him. Right. Because I was like very mad. Because
you also go like, the cops only recognize one of those types of abuse as a crime. So I know.
Right. I'm just like, well, so I was just like being normal and he was like being super like emotionally abusive, trying to get a rile out of me. And at one point, he said something really fucked up the day before. And I was like, I'm just done. I closed the door and then I was hurt, whatever, but I didn't want to touch him, but I didn't. But the next morning I actually made breakfast and I like served it to him and gave him a napkin and poured the orange juice.
Like, what poison did you put in
He
here?
was just like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, nothing. He's like, you haven't tried to hit me or anything. And I'm just like, I'm not that person anymore. Like I told you, when I told you I wasn't going to put my hands on you, I meant that. Mm-hmm. And so I want to leave out the situation with some sort of dignity. Mm. And he was just like, wow. And that's it. Like when you make a choice to change your ways, like I wasn't going back from that. Like I made a promise to myself, like that jail stint, whether it was like, it was only overnight, but that honestly changed me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is not the person that I want to be. I don't want to ever allow somebody else to control my feelings. I don't want anyone to have control over me ever again. And when I told him I wasn't going to touch anybody else or pull out a knife or gun on anyone else, I meant it.
And I hope, Leah, that in not letting other people control your feelings, you're also going to be able to apply that to the Susans of the internet. But I genuinely mean that. Like, that it seemed like you're genuinely nervous about what the response will be.
Yeah.
And like, if you're saying like, hey, I can make this change, I'm not going to do this. It's like, I hope that you also can make the change to say like, I don't care what they're going to put out there, or I'm not going to look. That's my big thing is like, I recognize like it's hard for me to not care. So I'm like, well, then I'm not going to look.
Okay.
And that's at least for me, I'm not trying to give advice here. I'm just saying, like,
No, it helps.
Yeah, because I say that in that, like, I'm fucking nobody, and you're
Stop.
Leah Vernon. You got that K. No, it's, but no, I do hope that because it should be a celebratory, awesome, happy thing to put out this piece of work, and I want you to be able to enjoy it.
That's true. People keep telling me that. Like, I have this thing because, like, I'm an overachiever. As you can see in the book, I do the most when it comes to achieving goals, and I do this thing where I don't. When I achieve a goal, I'm just like, okay, next thing. And next thing. Oh, anyone could do that if they work hard. And like, I have that mentality of like, I don't allow myself to bask in the goodness and the achievement of a book deal or me getting Glamour magazine or getting flown to London. I'm just like, okay, what's the next thing? Because in this industry, it's always like, what's new? Instead of me being like, I'm going to bask in the celebratory, thing. Like, and people have to always stop me and be like, can you like have a party for yourself or go get a massage or something? Like, cause you just did something yesterday. Yeah. You did all this shit yesterday and now you're just like, okay, yeah, so let me send out 20 pitches and so like you're definitely right. I need to learn how to sit in the goodness of my accomplishments instead of being like, what are people going to say about it? And also I have to work harder than yesterday. Cause like, I've definitely broke down a couple times because of that mentality.
The fact that you exist on the internet as I believe you can do it, and that's why I do hope for you. If I thought it was going to be a lot more work to do it, then I'd be like, good luck. but it's like I can't imagine you're going to get anything worse in response to the book than what you get randomly from strangers on Instagram calling you whatever nasty names or saying whatever about your body. So I feel like you've been primed.
Maybe I'm overthinking it too. I'm an overthinker. I'll think like 2 years ahead of time. Like, what if in 2021 I die? Like, I just start flipping out.
I think you need to start planning that like sexy ass bomb pic for the day that the book comes out to be posting up there and be like, you're right. Suck it.
Just that's it on the caption. Just suck it and then done.
Suck it. Buy my book. If you hate me, buy 2 fucking copies.
That's the best caption I've ever heard, honestly. I feel like I should do that.
Yeah, I'm glad that I could just, take from D Generation X and then repurpose it for a beautiful body positive Instagram post.
I appreciate it. No, I do need to actually think about like how I'm going to do it because I haven't thought about any cool videos or pictures for the actual launch. But I have a couple more weeks. So I have 5 weeks now? I think we're 5 weeks out. That's
about, I'm sure Perpetua, who like, by the way, has my favorite publicist name in existence.
She's
like
amazing.
Perpetua? That is beautiful.
It's amazing. I didn't ask her about like where the name came from.
I don't want the myth shattered. I want to allow myself to live in the fantasy of whatever story I've concocted from her name origin. I'm just going to let that be. I don't want to find out the truth. Truth may not be as fun.
You're right.
But, thank you for chatting with me. Would you be down to do a little Patreon bonus episode, maybe giving some like style fashion tips for plus size gals? Maybe stuff that like you were discovering during your inflection point when you started doing what you do on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I gotta imagine like you learned some tips about either what like looked better or also what made you feel better.
Yeah.
Would that be something you could do? Maybe like 10 minutes?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so like we're going to do a little bonus episode for the $5 and up members on Patreon of like, some fashion tips and tricks for the plus size gal on the town. But Leah, for now, where can people find you? The book, I'm not exactly sure when this comes out. Either just 15th. Came out or is about to come out. It's in mid-October. But yeah, where can they go for you?
Okay, so you can find me on the gram at lvernon2000. I have a new website now, which is just my name, which is leahvernon.com. I had beautyinthemuse.net, but I'm trying to like push it over to leahvernon.com and trying to mesh the two together because it was like more pictures and blog posts on there. That's still up. And then for the book, you can get it where books are sold. We're doing pre-orders right now. It's going to be hitting shelves on October 15th. Again, the name is Musings. I'm sorry. Wow. Damn. The name of my own book.
Do you need
Shit,
would you like me to
damn.
get the press release out for you?
Wow. Redo that whole part. My
Never.
book name is Unashamed. Musings. The reason why, this is off the side. No, the reason why I said that is because like the original name of the book was Musings of a Fat Black Muslim. There was
Right.
not Unashamed on it. It's just, I keep saying, okay. Anywho.
Oh, Unashamed is a new title.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So anywho, Unashamed, Musings of a Fat Black Muslims, is going to be on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Beacon Press, like it's wherever. Just Google my name or the name and it'll pop up.
Yeah, pre-order that shit, or if it's out, go buy it. And for Patreon people, we'll see you tomorrow. But for now, Leah, why don't you say goodbye to everybody?
See you later. Thanks for having me.
I mean, you listen to her for an hour, you would read her for like 200 pages, right? Go get the book, Unashamed. It is out soon, so go pre-order that now. As much as Leah is terrified of the feedback, I certainly am not. I want to know what you thought about this week's show. All right, you can hit me up on Twitter at @TheBillyProceda, or you can make a comment on my Instagram page at BillyIsProceda. I'm no longer shadow banned, so you can probably just type Billy Proceda to find my handles. But let us know what you think. You can also make a comment on the episode comment thread on the Man Whore Podcast fan page. Do you like emails? I know I do. I like emails because I can leave them, I can read them, and then I can mark them unread, and I can go back and answer them when I fucking have the time to do so. And I love getting your emails. So shoot me one over at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Send your comments, send your questions, send your titty pictures. I'm open-minded. manwhorepod@gmail.com. I really hope I will see some of you on October 8th at the Hacienda Villa. This is my event. This is an event that is near and dear to my heart. I think is very important to support these incarcerated women who, you know, have been put in tough positions and are just trying to do what they got to do to survive. So please join me at this fundraiser letter writing party on October 8th. You can get your ticket at the ticket link in the show notes of this episode, or go to wearehacienda.com. Next week, you're going to hear it finally. We're finally going to get to hear a good chunk of the live Man Whore podcast from Man Whore Con, featuring fan favorite of the show, my dear friend, Andrea Allen. You're not going to want to miss this one, okay? Just give me some water. Stay hydrated, everybody, and stay slutty.